Hi, thank you for joining me. This is Bro, and today we're going to be doing a pick a card reading. This is going to be about how you influence your relationship, both positive and negative. If you are single, this still applies to you. Essentially, it's what you bring to the table, both good and bad. So even if you're not in a relationship, this is still something that you bring when you're in a relationship or once you're in a relationship. I'm going to pull up 5 items. And before I pull them up, just remember that you want to make this choice based off of your first gut instinct reaction. So before you can mentally think about your option, try to go with the option that calls you the most or quickest. If you find that you are thinking about it longer and you're making the choice based off of your mind, then it's not going to be as accurate as if you just made like an instant gut reaction choice. Okay, so the options are key, leaf, fork, flower, and bell. So take a few seconds to think about what you want. You go ahead and put pause to if you need to, but again, try not to think about the item that you're going to pick. All right, let's start with those who chose the key. How do you influence your relationship positively? All right, so we have the Lovers, Ace of Pentacles, and Nine of Swords. All right, so it looks like you bring a positive order to your relationship. Like you're mature, but you bring an element, kind of like the curator of an art gallery. You're somebody who is almost like tending to the relationship in a way that is like how you would tend for a garden. You have this almost this caring nature. It's not caring in the way that you care for an individual. It's more like your structure. You have like an orderly structure that cares for the actual relationship. Like you're providing a structure for the relationship. There are people who can go about love in a blind manner and just go off of impulse and instinct and just have that be the guiding factor in the relationship. Um, you have an order, something that is providing a structural support for the relationship. This almost looks like you do all the work, and I'm sure that's not the case, but it's almost like there's a level of maturity that not everybody has, but it's almost like you have an awareness and you are consciously making the effort to work on the relationship. Like you have an emotional intelligence and you act on that emotional intelligence. We can go back to the structure element of this. Think of it like if you own a pet. Like if you have a dog or a cat, you know that you have to feed it, you have to uh, do certain things to ensure its continued existence. Essentially, you almost have that type of caretaking for the relationship. Like you have that probably be the best way to say it. Like you have a caretaker quality about the relationship. And then that kind of goes with the structure and like the intelligence. Like you have an awareness of it, and you act on that awareness. Oh, in short, what you bring positively to the relationship is structure and emotional intelligence. All right, now for those who chose the key, how do you influence your relationship negatively? All right, so we have the Moon, Death, and Ace of Pentacles. So it looks like some of the negative influence is almost like ruling with an iron fist. Like it's something prone to gaslighting. Like while you are a person to um, take care of things, like seek issues and solve them, you might not be understanding the issue exactly, and you will prescribe a remedy to a problem, but you're going to provide your idea of what you think is a solution. And oftentimes, if you are missing the point, any solution that you bring to a problem that you might not have a great understanding of is not going to be a solution. It's just going to be, like bringing salty potato chips to somebody who's in the desert that really wants water. It's like you're steamrolling the other person, like you're trying to speed run a relationship. Very bluntly, you aren't listening. Like you may hear words, but you are not grasping the big picture. Like you're not reading the room, you're not reading the relationship. If there's anything I could say, if you would like to remedy something like this, is maybe stop and talk with your partners, or when you're in a relationship, talk to them and try to try to see what's going on. Try to get an idea of the big picture. Make it an effort to learn. All right, now for those who chose the leaf, how do you positively influence your relationship? All right, so we have the Page of Cups, the Emperor, and Seven of Wands. All right, so it looks like you are very protective of your partner. Not necessarily overprotecting. It's more like protecting. Like that is an ability that you or a quality that you bring into the relationship. When you are really invested in a relationship, it looks like you are very protecting of your partner. You may even take offense to somebody dissing your partner. It's your fascination with the other person that results in the defensiveness. This is probably one of the most accurate representations of how you can tell if somebody likes you, if they are the way that you are during these situations. Like when a partner wants their partner to fight for them, this is you. They're referring to you. Like if there's anyone who is going to beat up someone for looking at their partner, it's probably going to be you in this category. This quality, as toxic as it may seem, is actually a great marker to make it painfully obvious that you are attracted to your partner, which only serves as assurance to your partner. Okay, now let's move on to the negative part of this. How do you negatively influence your relationship? All right, so we have Ace of Cups, Death, and the Lovers. All right, so looks like you are the type to smother your partner, like an obsessive type of behavior. While it may seem that there's no such thing as too much of a good thing, the smothering that you're providing can sometimes result in pushing someone away or making someone need some time away from you. If you would like to better yourself, I would say, periodically just do some periodic check-ins on yourself. Like do a little introspective thinking and ask yourself, how am I being right now? Am I being a bit much? If you can be honest with yourself, that may just kind of keep you in check and make sure you're not bouncing off the walls. All right, next up for those who chose for how do you positively influence your relationship? We have the High Priestess, we have the Ace of Wands. So it looks like you have a knack for picking up on what your partner needs and you're acting out on what those needs are. Essentially, you're able to satisfy without being told what you need to do. Looks like the area in which you satisfy is in uh, the sensory base. So it could be, think of senses, touch, taste, feel, like you can pick up on what is needed and act on it. And as far as senses goes, this would also cover satisfying a partner physically. Essentially, you keep your partner happy by picking up on what is needed. Like you're reading the relationship, you're reading the room, you're reading the relationship well, and you're acting on it. Like you don't need somebody to tell you what to do. Like you know exactly what you need to do and you do it. All right, so let's move on to your negative aspects. How do you negatively influence your relationship? All right, so we have Knight of Pentacles, Five of Cups, and Strength. All right, so it looks like the effort that you apply to your relationship is tied with your emotional standing and how you feel in the relationship. It's almost like your effort in the relationship is conditional based on how you're feeling. So if you're not happy, then essentially effort on your side is at a standstill. It's almost like you're not that emotionally mature. You're more a victim of the circumstances within the relationship. This can be negative when you factor in that relationships take effort and you can't always rely on the highs carrying you through the relationship. If there's any advice I can give for this, I would say try to adopt a little bit of mental clarity that you can apply to your circumstances, your situations. Next up, for those who chose the flower option, how do you positively influence your relationships? All right, so we have Death, Seven of Swords, and Six of Swords. So it looks like your influence is a supportive influence, but more so emotional support. You're able to help your partner through hard times. You're able to carry yourself and your partner through hard times. You're able to hold space. You're able to provide emotional support. You're the type of person to withhold any negative information if it means you can take care of it yourself. Or you're also the type of person to maybe not burden your partner with any issues of your own. So, like if you have stresses or you had a bad day at work, it's not something that you would bring to the relationship. Like you're not gonna throw your baggage onto somebody else, but you're very willing to accept baggage. You're almost able to like absolve your partner of issues they may have. So in short, it's emotional support that you provide. But more so, it's like an emotional security. Like just because you can't stop all the bad things that may happen to your partner doesn't mean that you're not going to try. Right, for those who chose a flower, how do you influence your relationship negatively? All right, so we have King of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, and the High Priestess. So it looks like you seem to overlook that which can't be measured. Like if you can't put a meter on it, it's not something that exists. If it's not quantifiable, it's not something that has inherent value. You seem to value more what is real, but unfortunately, not everything is going to match that standard of what is real. And sometimes that may be your partner's feelings, concerns, or ideas. Just because your partner is unable to formulate or rationalize something in the way that you deem as real doesn't mean that there isn't an issue or there isn't something that needs to be discussed or tackled. This is essentially like a form of gaslighting. If there's any advice I can give, I would just want you to know that just because somebody is unable to formulate their ideas into words doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't something that needs to be said or that they don't have a voice. You may need to learn your partner's language, as ridiculous or inferior to your language it may be. All right, so last up, those who chose the bell. How do you positively influence your relationship? All right, so we have Seven of Wands, Four of Wands, and Eight of Cups. All right, so it looks like what you bring positive to the relationship is a commitment. you are able to put in the work and also forego any like instant gratification for the greater good of the relationship. So like long-term thinking, long-term planning, like working towards something. Like you would probably be best suited for breadwinner in the relationship. Your commitment to your relationship can be seen as like a garden. You are a person that is tending to that garden and you're specifically trying to get results from the garden. Or another way to put it is like you are like a bird building a nest. Like you will go through the effort and the trouble of building that home, building that relationship and investing that time as well. When I say commitment, it's not necessarily referring to like a fidelity type of commitment. It is more of like an energy investment. Like you are committed to the cause, which can very well lead to fidelity. So in short, you are a person that is heavily invested in the relationship and the effort applied to it is for the greater good of the relationship. And any effort you apply transcends any discomfort you may experience normally. You're essentially locked in, eyes on the prize, fully committed to the cause. Okay, so now for the negative. Those who chose the belt, how do you negatively influence your relationship? Okay, so we have the Three of Swords, the Seven of Wands, and the Seven of Swords. All right, so it looks like you may possibly have an ego issue, a sense of entitlement. You may see yourself as the person in the relationship that brings value to the relationship, and as such, you feel like compensation is owed. And sometimes this compensation can be at the expense of your partner. This can be interpreted as cheating, but this is more so disregarding your partner's emotions to appease your emotions. It's like if you wanted your spouse to do something and they didn't want to, and then you throw it in their face that you did this and that, or, this is what you do for them and that. Really, you're like fire. Fire can be used to cook food, but you can also get burned in the fire. If there's any advice I can give is that love is not owed. Like any kindness that you do, any effort you apply, it is with the intention that you are never going to get it back in return. You are doing something out of the goodness of your heart, out of your own kindness, out of your own um, displays of affection. It's not conditional. Like you can't give someone a gift and then take back the gift because you don't like the gift that you got in exchange. You should learn to expect less or almost nothing. And when you do receive something, you will probably be better off because if you set your expectations lower, they'll most likely get met. But more importantly, you won't feel the need to have those expectations met in some other way that could potentially be at the detriment of your partner. That's it. Thank you for listening. And as always, I'd like to hear your comments and suggestions for any other videos you'd like to see or any other type of readings. Like to know, did this resonate with you? Was it both the positive and the negative, or was it just the negative or just the positive? I'd like to hear your feedback. I do enjoy doing general group readings. Um, I also do offer personal tarot readings. If you're interested, check the description. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.